Hey folks, I have a treat for you today because I feel like not only do I have a complete set of all the Opolis games, now I've got the game that brings all three together. So I cannot wait to talk to you about Combopolis and Ultimopolis. So to make it easy, I've got everything right here on the table, and I just want to show you how the games combine with each other and how to actually set up and play each of these games. Because just like with Sprawlopolis, once you've figured out the base game, you can play Agropolis and Naturopolis with just very few rules changes or adjustments, which make them so easy to play and easy to learn. So if we take a look at it, I've got Sprawlopolis up here. This is our OG. Agropolis right here, and then Naturopolis here in their super easy pocketbook style. Now, this collection of cards right here is technically called Combopolis I, or just Combopolis, and it combines Sprawlopolis and Agropolis with these 6 cards, because this is going to be one of your 3 scoring cards that combines those 2 decks that, yes, you need to have access to. You need to have both decks to play Combopolis number 1. So you've got Animal House, livestock pens with residential blocks, and each of these cards, yes, combines 2 of those particular regions or aspects of the game. Vineyards with industrial, you've got cornfields next to parks, Children of the Corn, I love that title. Petting zoos with parks adjacent to livestock, road trips that go through residential, commercial, industrial, vineyard, orchard, and cornfield. I love it. Supply and demand orchards with commercials, and back to Animal House. So what that does is it gives you one more different kind of objective that again forces you to put cards beside each other when you play Agropolis and Sprawlopolis together. Over here, this is Grape Escape of the 6 different cards you get when you combine Agropolis with Naturopolis. And this is the 3rd. This is technically Combopolis 3. And you've got vineyards next to lakes, mountains next to orchards, Alps and apples, Camp Oink a Moodle Doo, which, I mean, I don't know how you beat that title. Campsites next to livestock. Get your groove on, forests and vineyards, irrigation nation. You've got rivers adjacent to cornfields, orchards, or vineyards, which of course only makes sense. Up the creek without a cattle. You get points for rivers. And it says here, cow pens not in the same row or column as rivers. Now, you're going to combine Sprawlopolis with Naturopolis, and that's going to be Combopolis 2, and that's this deck right here. And I always know I'm dealing with Naturopolis when I see pink. There's always that one defining color that really stands out, so it's easy to get your cards back into the right group because you've got bright pink in your Naturopolis. So you've got industrial blocks and meadows, flower, power, plant, peaks and parks, mountains next to parks, the blues, you've got rivers and lakes, along with commercial blocks. Odd neighbors, residential blocks that are adjacent to, and it has to be odd, which I love this, forest, lake, meadow, and mountain blocks. Not far from home has to do with campsites, and it looks like Sprawlopolis block types. So again, getting those cards and those quadrants on the cards next to each other. And it looks like Timbertown is commercial and forest. So what you're going to do when you want to set up a game of one of these, or one of those, so Combopolis 1, 2, or 3, is that you're going to get those decks, you're going to shuffle them up and put them in 2 separate stacks next to each other. So let's say we're doing Sprawlopolis and Agropolis. Then you're going to shuffle up these guys and you're going to pick one as a scoring. So let's say we got sour grapes. We will use sour grapes as a scoring. You're going to flip over the top card of Agropolis. That's going to be your scoring for Agropolis. And you're going to add a top card from the deck of Sprawlopolis. So now you've got your 3 scoring cards. Then you are going to just flip this card over, and it's going to be from your Combopolis deck. And then this is going to be your start card in the center of the play area. Now that you've got that all set up, make sure you read your 3 cards to know what you're going for. This is your start card. On a player's turn, they are simply going to draw 1 card from each Sprawlopolis and Agropolis, and they're going to pick 1 to play and add into the area. They discard the card they don't use. And players are simply going to go in turn order, drawing 1 card from each deck and playing 1 of them into the play area legally until there are no more cards left, in which you score up all 3 of your scorecards. You will also select 2 of the zones or regions, quadrant colors, in Sprawlopolis to score based on the largest grouping, 2 from Agropolis to score, that collected like the adjacent spaces that are all in your largest group. And you're going to subtract for roads, and it's going to be just -1 point per individual road in your area. So even if you're playing with Naturopolis in the other 2 combinations, you're not going to subtract 2 for the roads. You're just going to simply subtract 1. That's the game. That's it. Isn't it super straightforward and easy? I love it. All the same rules apply, and I really like how it balances out that you pick just 2 instead of scoring all 4 colors or quadrants. You're doing 2 from Sprawlopolis and 2 from Agropolis. That really gives you something to strategize for, because you're probably not going to be doing too great once you start combining 2 different decks of cards, which I found out. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to get the adjacent colors that you want. I mean, especially if the cards that you draw for your scoring asks you to do something unique or kind of keep everything in separate groupings. So as usual, there's this wonderful tension of where you place your card, what kind of goal you're going for. Is it going to be one of the 3? Is there some way to get them both? To eliminate that overpopulation of roads everywhere, that's going to be your negative points at the end. But that's it. That's how you play the basic Combopolis. You connect you shuffle up these 2 decks, draw 1 scoring for each, and then draw 1 scoring from your Combopolis deck. Super, super cool. And it works incredibly well. The game is maybe more challenging, I'm going to say, than a basic game of Sprawlopolis or Agropolis or Naturopolis. I found it much more challenging to win a game of Combopolis or Ultimopolis. Now, how this works is you're going to take out these. You have 6 here as well for your Ultimopolis, and it's going to connect all of them. Now, this one, Hot Mess Express, is fantastic because you get 8 points per road that passes through at least 1 block of each of the types. And each of these types come from Naturopolis, Agropolis, and Sprawlopolis. So that's how this Ultimopolis works. Now, much like the setup for the others, what you're going to do is you're going to get your Sprawlopolis deck out, your Agropolis deck out, your Naturopolis deck out, shuffle them all individually, draw 1 scoring from each, and you're going to draw 1 scoring from this deck. So you have 4 scoring cards in Ultimopolis. And you will, on your turn, draw 1 from each deck, look at them, make sure everyone can see, talk it out. It's always just a really lovely cooperative experience. And you're going to pick 1 card, put it into your play area, add it to the start card. So you pick Hot Mess Express, and then just like the others, this is now going to be your start card from the Ultimopolis deck. So you're going to add it here, and you're going to add to the collection, build it up, build, 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 until you don't have any more cards to draw from, and you will score. And the only change here is that you will just take 1 quadrant color one type from Sprawlopolis to score the biggest collection of, one from Agropolis and one from Naturopolis. That's the biggest change. -1 for your streets or your roads. And if you have two different kinds of roads going into each other, they function like one major road, even though the roads look just a little different between Agropolis and Sprawlopolis. But the roads are function just the same. That's the game. And I would say Ultimopolis is even more challenging, even harder. But it's all just so clear. The game stays clear, it stays concise. I love that there are just these 6 cards that you get to essentially pick from, which if you just go through it systematically and you say, well, I want to play with all of them at one point, you can play 6 different games of Ultimopolis because you're drawing from that deck. So your scoring is just never going to be the same. And on the back, of course, you've got the one that you're going to start with is always going to be different as well. So with this Ultimopolis, you get to have even more plays. You get to add all the decks, and it's going to just be this super massive, sprawling Sprawlopolis, Agropolis, Naturopolis experience. And it's so, so cool. So folks, that's it. I love my Combopolises. My 1, my 2, my 3, if I want to combine my Sprawlopolis, Agropolis, and Naturopolis, and I adore the Ultimopolis experience. This game, really, all 3 of them, along with the expansions to combine them, really have become a house favorite. This game is so easy to transport. I can put 4 of these wallet pockets in my back pocket, like wallet games, come on, and share with people. So easy to love, so easy to pick up, and again, so easy to play, and it's fun and different every single time. It's kind of the perfect game, which is why it rises to the top of my favorites and just crashes right into my top 50 of all time. So if you have a chance to check it out, Button Shy Games is where you can find them. Get all 3, get the Combopolises, get the Ultimopolis. You will not be disappointed. All right, thanks for letting me share about all these super cool expansions to a fantastic system. I'll see you later, folks.